I'm going to turn it over to you. So thank you for being here tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kathleen. And I think that's actually the perfect note to begin on, which is Kathleen and her amazing colleagues in the Career Center are the masterminds behind this session and all the programming you've been getting recently. So please, please, please come to the chat and give them some love. Maybe you can use the emoji button right there in Zoom, or maybe you decide, you know what? I hear that AI is pretty hot. I hear that ChatGPT is a thing now. Maybe I'll go over there and have it compose a sonnet in Kathleen's honor. However inspired you're feeling, please blow up the chat with lots of love where love is due. I love to see this coming in. Thanks everyone for engaging right there. And then a little bit more about your speaker tonight. So I have had this very lucky career. I've gone from being a kindergarten teacher in Brooklyn to going to get my own MBA, to working at all these great companies across Silicon Valley. I currently lead the marketing team at Khan Academy. But the one place that transformed my career, even more than B School, was getting a chance to work inside LinkedIn. And that's for the simple reason that as a huge career nerd, I was always so curious, what's happening inside that hiring black box? How do we decide who gets a job and who's left on the sidelines? And getting a chance to work inside LinkedIn was like shining a flashlight right into that black box. And so I've been on a mission for the last decade to share those insider secrets with awesome students around the world, helping them land the jobs they're excited about. And so to get the same results for yourself tonight, all I ask is three simple things. Number one, get ready to answer pop quizzes. And I promise you that unlike the ones that your Vanderbilt profs are asking you, these will not be graded. You can do that right in the chat. Number two, even more than answering pop quizzes, get your hands dirty actually making changes in real time. I think the single best way to learn anything is to try it. So pull up a separate window right now with your LinkedIn profile in it and get ready to make actionable changes as we go along. And then third and finally, because this is business school, we've got to have some juicy incentives. So anyone who volunteers for one of the 3 live role plays we do tonight will win a free copy, actually not of my LinkedIn book, because that's kind of old news now, of my ChatGPT book, which just came out last week. And then we'll send that right to you in Vanderbilt or wherever you are right after this session. So that being said, let's start with the first pop quiz. If you had to guess how many resumes the average recruiter is juggling at any given moment, whether a consulting firm, an iBank, a tech company, is it 100, 1,000, or 10,000? So Isabel says B, and Alexander says B, and Carly says B. A lot of B's in there. But there are a couple of C's. I want to call out Mo. I want to call out Rafia. I know it feels a little hard to go against your classmates sometimes, but it turns out you are absolutely right. Yes, to my everlasting sorrow as a former recruiter myself at Teach for America, the data is very clear. The average recruiter has 30 to 40 open job recs. The average rec attracts 250 resumes. Do the math, and your poor recruiter is buried under applications. So what do they do about it? Specifically, if you had to guess, how many seconds is a recruiter spending on each of those resumes on average? 6 seconds, 25, or 60 seconds. And now, all of a sudden, everyone is very unified. Once they understand that a recruiter is dealing with 10,000 resumes, Raphael, Jotika, Carly, Amber, Taylor, Alexandra, everyone gets the message. This poor recruiter is operating at the speed of light, or at the very least, the speed of thought. As quick as they can make a decision, they move on to the next resume. And so the foundational insight that I want everyone to take away from this session is, yes, it's hard to be a business student. It's hard to be a job seeker, but it's incredibly hard to be a recruiter. And if you can understand their pain and the things that they need, you can understand exactly how to serve them and exactly how to get hired. And the first thing you're going to realize is recruiters are no dummies. I have met so many recruiters here in Silicon Valley who have their own MBAs. And the first thing they tell me is, Jeremy, I'm all about efficiency. There's no way I'm going to look through 10,000 mediocre resumes when I could just go on LinkedIn and find the perfect candidates. And so then the question becomes, okay, if it's about LinkedIn, what are recruiters searching for? Is it degree, MBA, MS? Is it school, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame? Or is it job title, product manager, investment banker? What do you think recruiters are searching for when they come to LinkedIn? Raphael says C, Mo says C, Rafia says C, Cutler says C, Uninga says C, and you're all absolutely right. LinkedIn is all about functional focus. And to prove it to you, let me now take you right inside the most important tool in the entire hiring process, but one that almost no job seeker ever gets to see, except for you, because you are now on the inside. And while this may look like LinkedIn, the free tool that you and I can use, this is LinkedIn Recruiter, a $10,000 per year per seat tool that every recruiter in the world still pays for, even at that outrageous price point, because I'm about to tell you the one thing that LinkedIn will never admit, which is that it is a monopoly. Unlike Google, unlike Facebook, unlike Apple, unlike Amazon, unlike OpenAI, LinkedIn has more data about every professional in the world than anyone else. It's not even close. Therefore, recruiters must use this tool, otherwise they're out of the race. And so, if it's critical to recruiters, we now know that it is critical to you, the job seeker. And to understand how it works, let's think about the implications of a tool that's focused on function. Now, hopefully you have your LinkedIn profile pulled up right now. And if it says something along the lines of, I'm a business student at Vanderbilt, I'm getting my MBA or my MS here, that's great. Great place to begin your career. But it is not sufficient. It does not give recruiters what they need, which is a clear signal of what you can do for them and the pain that you can solve for the organization. So if you are stuck right now trying to figure out your own perfect path, and by the way, that's totally okay. What I would love for you to do is to raise your hand on Zoom right now. And I will show you a foolproof process to find your perfect path so you can broadcast it to recruiters and you can seize that opportunity. And whoever raises their hand first will get the first free copy of this book. Okay, so who's it going to be? Looks like it's going to be Anna in this case. Anna, feel free to unmute your line. Feel free to turn on your webcam if you feel comfortable. Come on this journey together. And everyone, please shower Anna with love for being so brave. Welcome, Anna.
Hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good.
Tell me about yourself,
Excited.
Anna. Which program are you in? What are you studying?
MBA
Very cool.
for
Are you just
operations
starting?
and analytics. What
Are
was
you
the
just-
last part?
Oh, sorry. Are you just starting right now?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me be one of the first to welcome you then. Congratulations. This is so exciting. So you're studying operations and analytics, and you're getting ready to dive into this exciting world. When you think about the part of operations and analytics that really appeals to you, what is that, Anna?
Improving processes.
Improving processes. And so in terms of the chance to do that professionally, is there a certain job title or a certain function that you've zeroed in on?
I'd like to be a CEO of a company, preferably
Yes.
in a software as a service.
Love that. And so are you thinking about going for that as like a long-term goal, or that's something you want to do sooner
Oh, yeah.
rather than later?
Long term, before that, I want to be a COO and any form to get there that I need.
Okay, got it, got it. And so here's the interesting thing, which is so many business students have these big aspirations, which I love. But one of the realities is if you ever guys ever do this, I'm gonna actually point you to this. The HBS class of 1963, I know it sounds like ancient history, they put together this If I Knew Then website on the occasion of their 50th reunion. So about 10 years ago. I'll put this into the chat because I think everyone should check it out. And one of the things that they talk about in this first chapter under careers is what they wish they knew about those roles. I wanted to go to the C-suite. I wanted to be the CEO. I wanted to be the COO. And then I got there and then I discovered what it was really like, ... What if instead of waiting until you're at your 50th reunion, you could figure it out today, Anna? Would that be interesting to you?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to build you a crystal ball that wouldn't have even been available to the class of 1963. And that, of course, is LinkedIn. So check this out. One of the incredible superpowers that everyone on this call has is the ability to come over here to the Owen School of Business page on LinkedIn and basically say, I want to start to figure out what my future could look like if I go down this pathway. And so you have this thing called the alumni tool. I'm putting this right in the chat. I want everyone to click it, to bookmark it, and then come back to it again. Not just because I used to work on it, but because it's super powerful. So Anna, how would you like to know which of these Owen alumni have gone on to the COO suite? Okay,
Yes.
let's do it. Let's run that search. Should we plug that in? What we're going to discover here is there are a ton of folks, former president and CEO at Sunrun, COO. You have all these fascinating people to reach out to. And I'm going to tell you something a little controversial. So often, especially for people who are just starting business school, they say, I don't want to reach out to the COO. It's too scary. I'm going to reach out to someone who just graduated last year, who's like a super junior level. But here's the question. How much outreach does the super junior person get, Anna, versus the super senior person, if you had to guess?
Much less.
Yeah, the super senior person gets much less than the super junior person. And why do you think that is?
I thought the opposite.
Oh, you thought the opposite. Okay,
I have
sorry.
a sales background, so I'm used to talking to C-suite,
Got it.
and they get bombarded with a lot of salespeople.
Right. And I should be clear. I'm not talking about salespeople because you're not a salesperson. I'm talking about students reaching out to learn from alumni.
Yeah, much less than.
Yeah. And why do you think that is, if you had to guess?
People are afraid.
Yeah, people are afraid. They say, I don't know. I don't want to bother these people. They're so successful. But the very fact that everyone else is afraid should be a reason for you to be brave, Anna. Because if you reach out to that junior person and they're swamped with all these Vandy students reaching out, maybe they never get back to you. But if you reach out to Lexi or Adrian, they probably actually have the time because they're not hearing from anyone. I had the same experience. When I graduated from business school a decade ago, I heard from MBAs every single day when I got to LinkedIn and Google. And now that I lead the marketing team at Khan Academy, I never hear from them. And I know exactly why, for the reason that you said. So be brave and say, hey, I want to learn from Lexi over here what it's like to climb to that level and what it's like once you get there. And if you want to strike up a conversation with Lexi, which of these buttons would you want to click here, Anna?
More.
More. Okay, so come over to more, and then what do you do? And by the way, everyone, please give Anna lots of love in the chat and also root her on with your own ideas. Go for it, Anna.
I'm used to the mobile app and then
yes.
more, and then there's a different button. But
Yeah,
here,
for
I
sure.
guess message.
Yeah, and that's exactly the button that LinkedIn wants you to click. Any guesses why that is, Anna?
Because you have to pay for it.
Exactly. LinkedIn would be very happy for you to click it. In fact, as
Unless
a
you're
Microsoft,
on the mobile app, then you can send
Yeah.
a request with a tiny little message.
That's right. That's right. I was going to say, even as a Microsoft shareholder who would benefit and profit from everyone paying for LinkedIn Premium, in good conscience, I cannot recommend that because this is the crazy thing. Exactly like Anna said, you can click connect, you can add a note, and do the exact same thing without paying a cent. So everyone, I know that you're only about to meet Anna in a couple more weeks. When you do, please take her out for pizza because she has saved you at least $50 a month. You do not need LinkedIn Premium. Okay, we're going to start up our message to Lexi over here. And what are we going to say, Anna? How are we going to strike up this conversation?
Let her know where I'm from.
Yep.
Going to Owen.
That's right. I'm a current Owen
Have an
student.
interest in being a COO at a SaaS company.
Yeah.
And would love the
about-
opportunity to ask her a few questions
Yeah,
about
I
how
love
she
that.
got to where she is.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's just talk about why this is, because you nailed it, but I want everyone to understand why. So first of all, when you were growing up, Anna, what did your parents tell you about talking to strangers?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. What do you think Lexi's parents told her, no matter where in the world she grew up?
Don't do it.
Right. I tell my own kids that all the time. Don't you go talking to strangers. And now here's Lexi, 40 or 50 years later, a stranger approaches on LinkedIn. She almost has this Pavlovian response to delete your message. Why doesn't she delete it, Anna?
Because we went to the same school.
You're not a stranger. You're a member of the same tribe. And even more than that, you share the same passions. So always take down that stranger force field, the first thing you do. So I love that. Then I noticed that the rest of your message was focused on Lexi. I love your background. I love your career. I love to learn from you. That doesn't sound like an MBA, Anna. One of the things you're going to hear when you get to business school is you got to have your elevator pitch and you got to be ready to sell yourself and blah, blah, blah. Why did you avoid that?
Because the purpose is to learn from her.
Exactly. The purpose is to learn. And you will know this as a former salesperson. When you have someone who's reaching out trying to sell you something, how does that feel as the recipient?
Annoying.
Annoying, exactly. Whereas if someone reaches out and says, hey, I would love to learn from you. You are awesome. How does that feel?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. So I think you've just played this beautifully. You started with what you have in common. You made it clear that it's all about learning, all about her sharing her experience. And then you say, I know you must be incredibly busy, but any chance you have even 10 minutes to chat next week? And there you go. This is a classic Silicon Valley marketer technique. Lower the threshold, lower the bar. All you have to do is get your foot in the door, and now you can chat with her. But the really big question is this, Anna. We can get Lexi on the phone, no problem. But how can you ask really great questions to decide if Lexi's path is for you? What do you want to ask her?
First, I want to know what business she's in because I've never
Yeah.
heard of Equio.
Yeah. Tell me
Equio?
more about your experience and your business. Love it. Great place to begin. What's next?
I would scroll down to see her positions before that
Yeah,
to see if we have anything in common.
sure.
See where it looks like she has a consulting background. I don't,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't talk about that.
That's right. And I'll be clear, even if you don't have a ton of stuff in common besides you went to the same school and you share the same passion, that's still more than enough. And so in that question list, I might say, ultimately, I need to understand what it feels like to be a CEO to decide if it's a good fit for me. Think of it like a Venn diagram. On the one hand is what you are amazing at, what you're best in the world at, Anna. And it might be organization, it might be leadership, it might be teamwork, whatever it is. On the other hand is the reality of what the job requires. What you're looking for and what every business student should be looking for is as big an overlap as possible. How do you find the job that's not just great in theory, but that matches you in reality? That's the bar, okay, Anna? So given that, what would you want to ask Lexi to figure out what it's really like on the inside?
What skills she finds most beneficial
Yeah,
and her favorite classes at Owen.
yeah. I love that. You can always come back to those commonalities that you have, classes at ON. And so ultimately, what I think you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to learn as much about her and her experience as possible. But let me ask you the biggest question. And that is, or let me give you the biggest question that you could ask, is Lexi, just tell me about what you're doing all day. How are you spending your time? Because I think there's the Hollywood version of the COO, the hard charging person who's getting results and getting all this stuff. And then there's the reality of being COO, which might be totally different. And you owe it to your future self, Anna, to learn as much about that today so you don't have to be one of these grumpy old guys from 1963 regretting it 50 years from now, okay? But one thing I have no regrets about is you have been a rock star first volunteer. So I will be happily sending you this book and also all of my gratitude. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone, please give Anna tons of love. She absolutely rocked this. Is going to be an amazing member of the Vandy community. Okay, if you've got any questions about what we just covered in terms of the alumni tool, finding the right alum, reaching out the right way, building rapport, any of that is fair game. And you can ask questions in 3 ways. You can ask it right in the chat, you can raise your hand on Zoom, or you can just unmute and also ask live. We're a small enough group that's totally okay. So whatever's most comfortable, feel free to ask any questions because I want you to feel like you can do this immediately following this session. All right, sounds like folks are feeling good. Feel free to stop me at any point. For now, I've got another question for you. Imagine that you were a recruiter. Maybe you're even a headhunter and you're looking for COOs, and you've got 1 billion profiles to look through on LinkedIn. How do you decide who's a good fit? Is it A, the classes they took, B, the keywords they put on their profile, or C, the GPA they worked so hard to earn at Owen? A, B, or C, what matters most? So Yuning says B, Rafia says B, Ashish says B, and you are all absolutely correct. LinkedIn is nothing if not a keyword devouring monster. And to prove it to you, let me take you right into the belly of the beast to see exactly how it works. So here I am, I'm running a search inside LinkedIn Recruiter. I need a project manager in Chicago with these skills. And then lo and behold, look who rises to the very top. Emily, Channing, Aubrey. And they're not here by accident or by coincidence. They are here by design, a design that LinkedIn has had from day one, because one of the first key insights that LinkedIn's engineers had is that people love to game their job applications. They stuff their keywords and their skills and all the stuff all over their resume, and it can ultimately be a little confusing. So in order to avoid that problem, what LinkedIn's engineers did was very clever. When LinkedIn searches are run, more weight is given to this little headline below your name than any other section on the profile. I know you're thinking, you're like, Jeremy, that tiny little piece of text, how could that matter so much? But it turns out that its very brevity, which is limited to just 220 characters, is the source of its strength. Having a short character limit means it's harder to game and it's more important to the algorithm. So with that in mind, I want to help one lucky Vandy student find their most important keywords, get them into the most important sections of their profile, and start attracting your dream recruiters right to your candidacy. So this time it's going to go over to Mo. Mo, feel free to turn on your microphone, turn on your webcam, and let us make your profile shine. Everyone, blow it up in the chat for Mo. Welcome, Mo.
All right. Hey, thank you so much.
Oh, of course. Mo, it sounds like you're a rising second-year MBA.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, congratulations. How's your summer been?
Well, a lot of work, so I'm still at the office, to be honest.
I had a feeling. Where are you interning?
I'm interning at a boutique investment bank in South Carolina, in
Oh
Greenville.
my goodness. Okay, I love that. And of course, working iBanking hours, as I can see. Okay, I love it. So
But it has been a really good experience.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now tell me this, Mo. After your iBanking internship experience, is your goal for full-time to be found for iBanking roles, or would you prefer to be found for other things?
Other things mostly. Like I would like to stay in Nashville. So thing is, my family needs me to be at home mostly. So hopefully some finance jobs that would let me work hybrid or maybe remote.
Oh, very cool. And just to be clear, are these investment banker roles? Are they financial analyst roles? What's the actual job title?
So the actual job title maybe would be in line with deals or merger and acquisition or equity research. So
Okay.
previously I worked as a deal strategy senior associate at PwC. So something in that line, but hopefully not investment banking again, because that
It's
puts
tough,
a lot
right?
of pressure on the family.
Yes, absolutely. I hear that. And also I love what's implicit in what you just said, which is you figured out what you need to do to live a great life for yourself. I think so often the biggest trap in business school, and I think Kathleen will agree with me, is when we end up following someone else's path and we're chasing that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and then we get there only to decide it wasn't right for us. So the fact that you know what's important to you, that's critical. Okay, that being said, let's take equity research as an example. Let's imagine that I was a recruiter on LinkedIn and I said, I need to find an expert in equity research for my firm. So I come in there, I plug in those search terms, and check this out, Mo. The people who rise to the very top of my search results, Tim and Lori and Peter and Earl, what do they all have in common?
Experience as equity researchers.
Exactly. And then most importantly, because again, think about the limitations of a computer algorithm. A computer algorithm can't know what's happening in the real world. It can't know what you really know. What is the explicit reason that all of these people are at the top of my search result?
They have equity research in their headlines.
Exactly. The most important keyword, which is always your desired job title, in your most important section, which is always the headline. It is as simple a formula as that. Now, with that in mind, Mo, do you mind if I pull up your LinkedIn profile, not to criticize it, but to shower it with love?
Of course, no problem.
Okay. And do you mind putting it into the chat? Is that possible?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Give me a minute. I have it open.
Awesome.
Um,
And so I want to just remind people, of course, we're going to be talking about Mo's profile, but I want you to have your own profile pulled up right now and thinking through the same questions. We're going to talk about Mo's headline, his about section, his keywords, and I want you looking at your own profile at the same time so you can make those changes immediately. Sometimes it's better to make the change now than wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow we forget. Okay, here's Mo's profile. And thank you again, Mo, for being so generous. Now, Mo, you've got a lot of great keywords in your headline right here. However, there is one reason that I will never find you for the search that I just did. What is that
Right.
reason, Mo?
I don't have equity research experience or that keyword in my headline.
Exactly. And so here's the big sort of question. Have you already done equity research in your past experience?
Not specifically, but I have that qualification. So we do the same kind of valuation, but most likely in our line of work, it's private companies, whereas equity researcher more
More public.
works with like public ones.
Okay. So in your case, you could probably just list it because you've already done it. What about for your classmates? You know, what if what if Anna, who just spoke before, said, I used to be a salesperson, but now I want to move into operations.
Right.
How can you possibly get around that catch-22 of signaling what you're interested in without being unethical? Any ideas, Mo?
Equity research enthusiast.
Exactly. I love that. That's a passion. It's an interest. It's something that you're excited about. So check this out. In Mo's case, he could just put in equity research, or he could say equity research opportunities, seeking them, or passionate about equity research, or any variation is completely the same in the minds of the algorithm, which is the only mind that really matters. So for everyone out there who has their profile pulled up, please don't move away until your headline signals not just what you're doing today, but where you're headed next. That's what recruiters look for first. Okay, now back to our recruiter. They have a little problem here, Mo, which is though, even though LinkedIn has brought them all these great candidates, how many candidate profiles do they have to go through?
175,000.
Yeah, way too many, right? Again, recruiters are smart. So if you were a recruiter, Mo, what would you search for beyond just job title? What else would matter to you?
Yeah, location and skills. So in case, I guess, skills like financial analysis, valuation, that would be very helpful.
Exactly. So the skills are kind of the universal language, if you will, of job search keywords. In other words, again, recruiters can't really understand how was your experience different than someone who was at an iBank in New York City, but they do know if you've got valuation and financial modeling and all these terms, that is a good signal that you know what you're talking about. And so to figure out what are the most important keywords for you beyond the job title, where would you want to look, Mo? What if I told you that recruiters are handing you a list of these keywords every single day somewhere on LinkedIn? Any
In the
guesses
job
where that
description.
is? Yes, the job descriptions. And I know that sometimes we shy away from job descriptions as MBAs and business students because look at how wordy they are. Just thousands and thousands of words and bullet points and all this stuff. But what if, Mo, I could give you X-ray vision into two black boxes? Number one, the black box of the job description to pull out the keywords that matter most. And number two, the black box of LinkedIn to see how you're doing on those keywords. Would you be interested?
Of course, thank you. Yeah.
I love that attitude. Well, I will tell you, because of your generosity, I'm going to return it in kind and give that superpower to every Vandy student. So check this out. If you were to come over to a site called jobscan.co, and again, the link is in the chat so everyone can try this out. What JobScan will do is it will give you the one thing that LinkedIn will never give you, and that is the truth. It will tell you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. And the way it'll do that is it'll grab your entire profile or your entire resume. It'll grab the job description that you're really excited about, and it will compare those two bodies of text to see where there's overlap and where there are gaps. Are you ready for your moment of truth, Mo?
Yep.
Okay, if we were all together in a classroom in Nashville, we do a little drum roll. We'll just have to do a digital drum roll right now. And look at this. I've got to tell you, this match rate is not bad, Mo. Did you in your heart hope that maybe it would be like 100%? Was that your goal?
Nope.
No, okay. And I want to call this out for the benefit of all the career changers out there. So often we have this broken mental model about how hiring works, where we're like, if you don't match 100% of the skills in the JD, you are out of the running. And nothing could be further from the truth. So check this out. If we came over here and we looked at some research that TalentWorks has done, and basically what they've said is, we put in thousands and thousands of applications and we measured how they actually performed. And then what they discovered is that, look at this, Mo. When you get past the 50% mark in terms of matching the skills and the keywords in the job description, instead of going
Mhm.
up and up and up, your chances of an interview actually decline a little bit. What could possibly
Right.
explain that?
Maybe
Yeah.
hitting all the keywords doesn't make sense at a single point, or maybe there is some general aspects to every job descriptions.
Right. So maybe it's like lack of credibility. No one could match 100%. I think what it really is, and I'll tell you this as a hiring manager at Khan Academy, is that recruiters are not just focused on bringing in great candidates, they're focused on closing them, because a recruiter can't move off that job until there's a body in that seat. And so if I bring in 10 rock stars as a recruiter who could do this job in their sleep, who have 100% match rate, what is the likelihood, Mo, that they actually accept that job offer at the end of the day?
Very low, because maybe they're already doing lucrative jobs, exactly that job, and maybe
Right,
they
they're
will
so
not
bored of
move
it.
away.
Everyone wants growth. Everyone wants a chance to try something new. Versus if you're 50% qualified, you know enough to be dangerous, to contribute on day one, but you're still hungry. And that hunger is what I want as a recruiter, because that's going to get you to sign my offer. So what everyone should shoot for on JobScan is about a 50% match rate. So Mo's already in great shape. That being said, if you want to understand how you can improve it, if it's less than 50%, understand where it's coming from. So basically, it's a very simple table. Here are the things that are right in the job description: equity research, investment management, finance, financial analysis. Here's whether they're showing up on your profile. And in this case, there are a couple things that you might actually be able to get credit for, Mo. Things like investment management or research projects or quantitative research. Do
Right.
you have experience with any of those?
Yeah, I did a research project in my last mod. That was an independent study. I have done investment management work. So not as like a proper asset management in a mutual fund, but similar to that. International research that I have done. I have worked on several international projects.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
So
but
just
I
take,
don't know why those are not showing up.
yeah,
There
and
is
it's possible that I may not have grabbed every last piece of your profile. But the point here is, if you discover that there is a gap,
right.
what can you do about it, Mo? How can you address it on your profile?
I can add those keywords somewhere in the descriptions or in my past jobs.
Yeah. So let me list 3 different places. So there's the about section. And guess what, Mo? You are entitled to not 200 characters like the headline, but
Right.
2,000 characters. So you have a lot more room here that you could be using to list out the things that matter. And as an example, here's my own about section. And you'll notice
Mhm.
that I have an entire section here just to list keywords. So if anyone wants to borrow that format, I'm
Right.
pasting it right in the chat. And by the way, if you paste in my template, the little bullet points will also paste in. So you have those too. Okay.
Thank you
that's
so
one
much.
place. Yeah, of course. Number 2 is the experience section. Now, it looks to me like you have already done a really smart thing here, Mo, which is you've already put in lots of your stuff from your resume into LinkedIn. But for the people who haven't done that yet, let's explain why it's so important. So first of all, how hard do Owen students work on their resumes, Mo, in your experience?
Very difficult, to be honest. There is a time space pressure, and then also making sure like whether I'm over explaining things or under explaining, because this is from a different background. I don't know how familiar are they with Bangladesh or the way PwC did its deal strategy jobs. So there is a lot of confusion, as at least for me there.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. And so you're working really hard on your resume. Now, that copy of your resume that you have designed and that is sitting on your hard drive, how many times a day is it being scanned by recruiters? None, right? Unless they somehow hacked inside your
Right.
computer, in which case maybe this is a cybersecurity webinar. But let's focus. On the other hand, how many times is your profile being scanned by recruiters every single day on LinkedIn, Mo?
I don't know. I hope a good number.
Well, it turns out the answer is 100 million. There are 100 million recruiter searches on LinkedIn every single day. And every single time a recruiter searches, every single profile gets scanned. Now, of course, not all of those are going to be focused on your field, but every time they search for investment management or international research and they can't find it, that's a missed opportunity. So what
Right.
is the simple corollary here, Mo? What should every single Vandy student do with their resume when it comes to their LinkedIn profile?
Match up the keywords.
Yeah, just and not even match anything. Take everything from your resume, paste it right onto LinkedIn. Even though it can't be found on your hard drive, it's being searched every day on LinkedIn. And so every beautiful bullet point, every skill, every keyword deserves to be right here. Okay. And then,
Right.
of course, you also have an entire skills section down below. And guess what, Mo? You have up to 50 skill slots. So you have 13 slots that are blank today that you can fill up with even more skills. Okay. Okay, Mo,
Understood.
you have, yeah, go for it.
No, understood. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. And I was going to say, as a little thank you to you, I want to make you one last deal. Let's see if you're willing to try this. I know that probably your first year at Owen was long and hard, but if I made you the offer that if you were willing to do one little piece of homework for me, I can promise you that it'll be the most important homework you ever do in your entire career. Would you be interested?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and this is what it is. I know it's going to sound like a very bold claim, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a cheat sheet. These are the most important keywords that must be on your profile, that you must be found for. And if you can master that cheat sheet this weekend or whenever you have a chance, you will find more and more opportunity coming your way, which is exactly what you deserve, especially for being a rockstar volunteer. Thank you so much, Mo.
Thank you
were
so much.
fantastic. Okay. Everyone, please give it up for Mo. That was incredible. Again, it takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there, but it's so valuable to help yourself and everyone else learn. Okay, if you've got questions about profiles, they could be about the cover photo, the headshot. Maybe you're curious about LinkedIn endorsements. Whatever you're curious about, it's all fair game. And remember, I don't work for LinkedIn anymore, so I can tell you the truth. So if you want to know about any of those parts of the LinkedIn profile or the algorithm, just raise your hand, ask in the chat, or unmute and ask live. Oh, Taylor, juicy question. Can you have too long of a headline? So you can in two ways, Taylor. You can have technically too long a headline in the sense that you'll be editing your headline and LinkedIn will say, nope, you went past 220 characters. So you just can't go past that limit. But you can also have what I would call is a perception kind of too long headline in the eyes of a recruiter. So what you'll see a lot of times is people will put in all of these keywords into their headline because they now understand their headline is their most important section. Unfortunately, once you have 5 or 6 or 7 keywords in here, especially if they're acronyms, it starts to look like alphabet soup. And so as a recruiter, it raises red flags with me. It's because I say to myself, is this person really good at all those things? Or are they just keyword stuffing? And so what I would do, Taylor, is I would try to have 2 or 3 clear focuses that are easy for the recruiter to see. Any more than that, and I start getting worried about whether you're focused enough. Great question. Other questions about the profile. We could talk photos, we could talk keywords, we could talk connections, whatever's on your mind. Ooh, I love this question. Someone says, should I remove jobs from 8+ years ago? Okay, so this all comes down to something I call the relevance test, which is if you have a job like I was a lifeguard one summer or I bus tables, and that has no bearing on the job you want next, I would probably remove it just for the purposes of it's not adding any value. And as we talked about, extra length just confuses the recruiter. It detracts from your main story. However, my challenge to you before you delete anything is, are there some invisible linkages between what you did 8 years ago and what you want to do next? As an example, one of the things that I discovered when I was in business school is that some of the work I had done as a kindergarten teacher actually had a really strong connection to what I wanted to do as a tech marketer. And so what I did, rather than throw the baby out with the bathwater, is I went back and I took all of my content from the very beginning of my career and I recast it around the skills and keywords of my next career. So instead of talking about being a kindergarten teacher and helping kids and blah, 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 I talked about word of mouth marketing campaigns, setting records, generating record increases. And so if you can find a way to build that bridge from what you used to do to what you want to do next, it can be even more powerful. Great question. Okay, Carly says, what if you're recruiting from multiple areas? How do you handle the headline in this situation? Okay, so Carly, I'm going to suggest something very similar to what I just mentioned in the last example, which is even if you're going after multiple areas, chances are there are some hidden linkages. Let's say, for instance, you want to be either a consultant or a banker. Even though those are two distinct fields, it turns out a lot of the underlying skills are exactly the same. Analysis, relationship building, presentations. Ultimately, if you're going to be a great consultant, you're probably going to be a great banker and vice versa. So what I would do, especially in your about section, is I would make a case that the things that make you great at one will also make you great at the other. So I might say, seeking opportunities in consulting and finance, powered by a passion for data and a strength in corporate communications. And that way you're making a really compelling case to recruiters. Hey, the things that make me awesome at your role also credibly make me awesome at this other role. And that is believable. However, if you're going after 7 different areas where it's like consulting, banking, tech, CPG, want to start my own company, want to start my own nonprofit, now again, you have that red flag problem of that just seems like a bridge too far. So 2 or 3 areas, totally fine. Beyond that, too many. Great question. Okay, speaking of a bridge too far, I don't want to go too far on profiles. So I'm going to go onto our final section tonight. And this is probably our most important section. So I'm glad you stuck around. And that is, if you were a recruiter at Goldman, at Google, at McKinsey, any firm that anyone wants to work for, and you've got 3 strong candidates, but only 1 interview slot left, who tends to get it every single time? Is it candidate A who applied on your website, candidate B who came in via LinkedIn, or candidate C who was referred? And once again, I have to give you a massive shout out, Kathleen. Your students are on fire. Amber says C, Carly says C, Yuning says C, Zach says C, Ashish says C, and they get it. The data is so clear here. What you're looking at right now is a bar graph that represents millions of job seekers across dozens of industries. And even though there are all these different industries represented, the trends are all the same, which is the vast majority of job seekers really only apply for jobs one way, which is online. And that's too bad, because when you compare how many people are applying versus how many people are getting jobs through those channels, you can see it's a fairly losing strategy. Now, before you get depressed, check out this ray of sunshine, which is that even though fewer than 1 in 10 candidates are being referred, they are getting the vast plurality of the one thing that actually matters, which is they're getting hired, which is what you want. And that's why you want a referral. So to help you get one, for our final demo and our final book giveaway tonight, please raise your hand and I will walk you through step by step how to break into any talent fortress in the world and claim an awesome job, even if you're changing careers. So raise your hand one last time, let me know your game, and you will get the last copy of the book. All right. I'm not sure if I've got your first name here. Sexton J. Feel free to unmute and click in there. There we go. Hey there. Are you able to unmute? I don't know if you're on the phone. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the key combination is. Do you remember that, Kathleen? How do you unmute on the phone? Is it like *1 or something?
Sorry about that. Is that working?
Oh yeah, that's great. All right, here we go. Tell me your name.
Jeez.
What's your name, good sir?
Ooh, I don't know if I can hear anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Uh-oh. All right, we've got a little technical difficulties. Let me know if it resolves. Let's see. Anyone else game for this final opportunity?
I guess I'll let someone else go because
Okay.
I can't figure that out. Sorry.
Oh no, no worries, no worries. Thank you for giving it a shot. All right, Kathleen, will you come along with me on this journey? Sorry to put you on the spot, but I don't want to cold call anyone late at night. So,
Let's go. Yeah.
all right, I love it. So Kathleen, I want you to throw down the gauntlet for me a little bit. What would be a company that so many Owen students would love to break into if it wasn't so gosh darn hard?
Let's say BCG.
BCG, yeah. You know, obviously There's a reason it's part of that MBB triumvirate. Everyone wants to work there. But I've got really good news, which is if you were to go onto LinkedIn and plug in their name or Google or McKinsey or Bain or any other company in the world, you will not only find their page on LinkedIn, you will find their corporate directory. And this is kind of crazy, but on every single company's page, if you just click the number of employees, you can now see exactly who works there, as well as all of the connections between them and you. And the really good news is that you have 34,000 potential referrers at BCG. But of course, the bad news is, just like for recruiters, we've got to filter them down somehow. So Kathleen, if you were in your student shoes, how would you filter this list to find someone at BCG who doesn't only work there, but who actually wants to help us?
I'd find an Owen alum.
Yeah, there we go. And I think this is the really fascinating thing is when I was in business school, I was obsessed with classes and clubs and all this great stuff. And I don't regret it at all. But long after I forgot how to do financial modeling and net present value and all those good things, I still have this incredible network of people in every company in every industry who are just waiting to help. So Kathleen has nailed it. The Owen connection is amazing. And by the way, it doesn't just have to be Owen. It could also just be Vanderbilt in general. And one of the weird things about LinkedIn is that it actually considers them separate entities. So if you want to maximize opportunity, plug in those schools, maybe even your undergrad alma mater as well. So we say show results. And unsurprisingly, 100 plus Vandy grads over at BCG. If we wanted to make this even more interesting, tell me about a certain office that would be exciting for your grads.
Let's see. I don't know, strategy operations, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. So say strategy operations. And you can see that this search is just applied on top of the last one. So now we have Rochelle over here, retail and consumer strategy and operations at BCG. And here's the really cool thing about LinkedIn. Yes, she went to Vandy, and that's a great feather in our cap. But even if we reach out cold to her, Kathleen, what is the chance that she responds to us just based on the Vandy connection alone?
I would hope it's pretty high, but you never know.
Yes, I would say in my experience, it's about 30%, give or take, which is much higher than like less than 1%, which is reaching out completely cold. But what if I told you, Kathleen, there is something on this screen that would give us a 100% chance of getting in touch with Rochelle?
Tell
Any
me.
guesses what that might be?
No.
If anyone knows, put it in the chat or shout it out, staring us right in the face. And this is the special superpower of LinkedIn. Okay, we'll tell everyone what it is. Vaishali, Carly, mutual connections. Yes, because even though Rochelle loves Vandy, she loves Bob and Vinay and her friends even more. And so if we happen to know some of them personally and say, Bob, would you mind introducing us? Now, Rochelle not only has that university connection, she also has social proof. And you all know that social proof is this powerful force that binds us together. So Rochelle says, no problem, Bob. Happy to do a favor for your friend. Okay, so we have a chance to chat with Rochelle on the phone or over Zoom. What do you normally recommend to your students, Kathleen? Should they come in guns blazing and say, Rochelle, give me a referral? Or is there a better strategy?
I would say let's connect and let's talk and get her on the phone.
Yeah, get her on the phone. And when we're on the phone, what should we talk about? How should we have that conversation?
I would talk about Owen, I would talk about BCG, and I would ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, basically these open-ended questions, getting her talking, building rapport. There's this thing called the Ben Franklin effect, which is the more you ask someone, the more you get them talking about themselves, the more they want to help you later. And so we're sort of planting these seeds for a long-term relationship. Now, let's say at the end of this conversation, maybe Rochelle is not quite ready to give us a referral. After all, she's just getting to know us. She doesn't want to put her reputation on the line. If Rochelle tells us, Kathleen, to do a little more research, to read up on a blog on strategy operations at BCG and talk to some more of her coworkers, after we do those things, does it make sense for us to circle back and talk to Rochelle again?
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely, because think about it this way. When you do circle back and you do follow up, what are we demonstrating to Rochelle in terms of who we are as a person?
I'm good for my word and I'm gonna do the work.
Exactly. In other words, exactly what they're looking for at BCG. And I'm going to tell you, I've spoken to about 1,000 students from my alma mater ever since I graduated. They wanted to work at Apple and Google and Khan Academy. I almost never hear back from them a second time because they're treating it as a one-off chat as opposed to building a relationship. And if you really play the longer game here, you have so much more bounty to harvest. And so ultimately, let's say that it is now October 2023, the BCG job posting goes up at Vandy. You could just apply online and hope for the best. But if you want to get that referral from Rochelle, what do you do at this point, Kathleen?
You gotta ask for it, right?
Yeah, you got to ask for it, right? Again, I think all of this stuff, it seems so simple, but I know it feels intimidating. I know it feels scary. And the reason I know it is because I was an MBA too once and I was scared. And I know when I talk to students today, they feel scared to ask me. But here's the reason why they shouldn't feel scared. If Rochelle gives you a referral, Kathleen, or gives your student a referral, and they're hired based on that referral, what does Rochelle get?
I mean, she gets some sort of, hopefully some sort of perk, and also there's a pipeline that's built for Owen, which is great.
Exactly. Referral bonus, feels great about her alma mater, has amazing karma for helping out the next generation. No matter what motivates you, there is an incentive. And so I think about all of those alums who I never asked for referrals when I was an MBA. Not only did I rob myself, but I robbed them of the referral bonus that they were due. So the bottom line is there are very few things in business or in life that are a true win-win, and a referral really is one. Kathleen, thank you for demonstrating that. And I will absolutely send you a copy of the book too, because you helped out so much. Okay, so now we've come to the end. And I want to finish up with a couple of goodies, and then I want to get you guys started on making all of these changes to your own profiles. So one last thing that I want to show you is if you are feeling like, okay, Jeremy, this was a lot, and I have to figure out, how am I going to apply all these things in my profile? Let me give you a couple of bonuses. First of all, I would love to connect with everyone from tonight's session. It's a great chance to practice your networking outreach in a very safe space. Just send me a little connection request, and I'm happy to help out anytime you need it. You already have Kathleen and the team, one of the best career teams in the world, right at your service. But if you ever want to talk about LinkedIn and geek out, I'm there for you too. Number two, as a massive thank you to Kathleen and the entire team, you also have access to this resource, which I call the LinkedIn Masterclass. It's basically the only LinkedIn course in the world designed by former LinkedIn insiders. And it's yours for free, not just for this year, but for the rest of your career, courtesy of Kathleen, courtesy of the team. So please give her lots of love in the chat and click that link to get your lifetime access. And then the third thing, which is so new that I didn't even include it on the slide, but I did promise you a little AI goodness, is if you're like, okay, Jeremy, I can do the course, I could even connect with you, but how can I replicate all those things that you talked about? Well, now for the very first time, you have your own profile bot powered by ChatGPT. Check this out. Let's say that after this session, you were like, you know what? Jeremy has gotten me so excited about all this tech. I want to be a product manager, and I want to make that transition coming from a different background. So I'm going to paste in my CV, paste in my resume. What this tool will do for you is it will grab all that stuff that you're passionate about, and it will reformat it right into the things that can help you stand out on LinkedIn. That includes your cover photo. So if you're looking for a really great cover photo, it'll take you right to a site called Pexels, where you can find great things to help you stand out. It will also give you an awesome headline that nails your most important keywords, an about section that's optimized for the recruiter and the algorithm, help you fix your experience section, even give you some posts to consider if you want to up your content marketing game. And guess what? Every single one of those techniques and tools is absolutely free to you at the link in the chat. So with that said, we are down to our final 3 minutes of the night. Do you have any final questions about LinkedIn, profiles, algorithms, or anything standing between you and landing a job that you love? Again, you can ask right in the chat, you can raise your hand, or you can unmute and ask live. We'll take a question from Anna. Anna asked this before, and I'm sorry I missed this, Anna. Should you repeat skills in different roles? I don't want to be repetitive, but I'm not sure if LinkedIn has an algorithm that matches skills and years of experience. So Anna, I'm so glad you asked that question, because if you come back to JobScan, one of the things you may have noticed is it's not just counting whether you have a skill or not, it's also counting keyword density. So in other words, LinkedIn says, hey, someone who lists a skill 1 time versus someone who lists a skill 10 times, I'm going to tend to prefer that latter person because they probably have more depth of expertise. So not that you have to have every skill listed 100 times, but if you are really great at 1 or 2 skills in particular, be sure to list them in a couple different places because the algorithm will notice that. Great question. Okay, with that said, we're going to bring it back to Kathleen, our MC. Any final words of wisdom for our amazing students tonight, Kathleen? I know some of them are out there on internships. Some of them are just getting ready to come to Nashville. Any final things they should be thinking about as they get ready for the next adventure?
We can't wait to invite everyone to camp, or to have everyone on campus in just a few weeks. If you haven't already done your resume review, get in 1220 and schedule it. We'd love to get that box checked before you arrive on campus. But you're already ahead of the game because you've attended tonight and you're thinking about these things early. So Jeremy, thank you so much for leading us. This was an excellent session. I learned a lot, and I hope everyone else did too.
Awesome. Thank you again so much, Kathleen. Thanks to the amazing volunteers. And here's wishing you all a beautiful evening and great rest of the summer. Cheers all.